Hi and welcome to another Making Sense of It with me, Emma Kenny.
And me, Peter Smith.
Getting back to being regular now.
Yeah, we are.
We had a hiatus, but we're back.
Yes, it's not bonfire night, but it's sort of bonfire night for us, isn't it?
It is bonfire night for us. It's quite a nice time actually of year this, because we have a tradition in our family. If you're listening to this at a completely different time of year, understand that it is actually like the 2nd of November, I think, right now.
3rd.
Is it the 3rd?
Yeah.
So we have a tradition every year in my family, where since we were kids we went to the local Scouts like firework display, but I'm not, to be honest, quite convinced that it's the Scouts behind it.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that
yeah.
millions of pounds go into it, and I think there's probably some kind of embezzlement going on that none of us are aware of. But anyway, who cares? Brilliant display every single year.
Almost like the Olympics.
And true to form, it's actually stormy outside and is probably going to be horrendous for the hour that we're there. But never mind, because sometimes tradition usurps sense. And in this context, that's what's going to happen.
It is.
And also, just to say, 16 years ago, pretty much around now, I went into induced labour with my first son. So my first boy, who's 16 on Monday, who took 3 days and a bit to arrive because he was a special care little baby. And I was very poorly. And he was very... Oh, the cat's gone off my microphone. You're watching that.
Right, come on in.
So I was very poorly, he was very poorly, and I had a rather long and drawn out yet wonderful labour. And I can still remember the night before having him, I was in hospital because obviously I'd been on the maternity delivery suite for quite a while. You're only there usually to deliver your child, but because I'd been induced and then there was a consultant and I was being monitored. And back in the day, they just like send the husband home. Oh, you know, you go and get your rest. Yes, you go and get your rest. You go and get your rest. And I'll just stay here in pain, in slow labour
I've seen
for
that.
3 days.
I'd have stayed.
Yeah, I know you'd have stayed there, but that's why I'm divorced. But long and short of it, truth was that I lay in bed with my slow contractions every 3 to 5 minutes for a very long time before they put me on that wonderful drip that kind of helped to bring him along. And I could hear all the fireworks. And I remember thinking, this time next year, I'll have a 1-year-old. And it was a really kind of comforting experience during that.
Was he born sort of early morning on...
He was born in the afternoon on the 6th, with my mother next to me, going, be all right, and me behaving very well, and not being allowed any pain relief.
No.
Because I was in special care. I was really, really unwell, and I hadn't been able to eat from 5 months. So by the time I got to 8 months, they had to get him out because I just couldn't feed him anymore, and he was getting really poorly and distressed, and I was poorly and distressed as well.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, because of my gallbladder had gone septic, I needed to have it removed, and they couldn't do that whilst I was pregnant, so they needed to get him out, and then I got straight within 2 weeks operated on for that. But it was great.
Yeah.
I just remember it as joyful. Best thing in the ever. Whenever we do anchoring, so for people who don't really know what anchoring is, basically anchoring is a way of dealing with anxiety, and it involves using your thumb and your fingers to kind of press together, and you do some kind of guided hypnosis and relaxation, and it takes you to a place where it gives you a preferred memory, and that preferred memory is when you're having a stressful situation, or in my experience, my dentist. If I'm going to have my dental work done, I don't really like going to the dentist. Inherited phobia from my mother, but you know, you go, it's not too bad. But I use anchoring. I always use that memory when they handed this tiny little premature boy to me, and I was like, oh my God, everything makes sense now.
Yeah.
The world makes sense. It is a wonderful place, and I never ever have to be self-indulgent again. I can just go, I have meaning. It's a really special time. It's a really interesting thing. I think lots of mums feel that way.
I think, I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that, you know, that you see a huge change in every mum. Everybody I've known, like in the past, who've never had kids, and all of a sudden they have a kid, it's like, there's just this change where you're liking it to like them thinking that they are the only person in the world that's ever had a kid. Not in a harsh way. I mean, they've just suddenly like, it's like this, you know, I'm taken to motherhood, you know, in a way.
No, actually, what you just suggested then was a complete criticism of women who just post all their pictures all over there and talk constantly about it. Well, to say the words, I liken it to them thinking that nobody else ever in the world has had a kid would suggest a degree of narcissism and poor self-knowledge. But whatever, just throwing it in there to any of the mums watching this and putting Pete on your hate list. Don't worry, it'll be at the top of mine at the end of this.
That. I mean,
whatever.
That's why, you know, you're just pulling faces at the camera now. Oh, well, all mums are going to hate me. I know what I mean.
We all know what you mean, Peter.
It's like the time
we
where
all
they, you
know
know,
what you mean.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
Yeah. So anyway, your bundles of joy got delivered to you at the ages of 7 and 9.
They did,
so
yeah.
They were quite
I mean,
large.
the labour I went through was probably likened to maybe a divorce, and then probably partying for a few weeks, and then meeting the woman of my dreams and 2 bundles of joy appearing in my life.
And missing out the mass depression, the helplessness and hopelessness, the absolute ridiculous...
Yeah. The sleepless nights.
Yeah, but let's skip over that
Vomit
bit.
and wee.
Well,
and...
to be honest, that is pretty much where most mothers end up, covered in vomit and wee. But anyway, the point is, it's the most joyful time of year for me. It's also one of the most expensive times of year for me. It's birthdays, Christmas, another birthday as well, and yours as well.
Mine doesn't really count though, does it?
No,
I'm all right.
No. To be honest, nobody cares.
And I've got everything I need.
Yeah,
so...
you'll keep believing that.
Well,
look into my eyes, look into my eyes, look around the eyes. You're under. So anyway, back to reality. We are going out tonight to do our bonfire.
Yeah, I'm still under.
Well, number one, you couldn't possibly say that. So
yeah, true.
Anchoring, anyway.
Well,
that's what I use my preferred memory for.
Yeah, we're going to be putting some of those videos out soon.
Yeah, we are doing loads of free videos. Oh, I've got so much to tell you. Anyway, following on from the last particular podcast that you may have had your ears burnt by, when I was kind of in a bit of a less positive place that day, I think I was a bit of a rant that day. I don't even remember what it is. I'm one of those individuals.
What, the last podcast?
Go to sleep, me, and then the next day I'm like, okay, here we go again. Don't remember any of it. what happened? It's like I'm in an induced state of amnesia 97% of the time.
Would it be good that? Would it be, because you can just get away with stuff?
It was fine when Adam Sandler did the 51st Dates with Drew Barrymore. It all worked out fine. They had a yacht at the end. She had lots of sticky notes that reminded her of what had happened and why she lost her mind.
There's too many flaws in that picture, that film, that flick. There's too many flaws in it.
Yeah, but everybody lives happily ever after.
No, but there's too many flaws in it. What is the difference between the end and the beginning? You know what I mean? She's still the same person. She still has amnesia. She cannot remember. So what changes throughout it, except for just the storyline of a film, and at the end, she's just exactly the same person because she doesn't remember when she wakes up the next morning who she is, what she is, where she got it. So why is she suddenly still in love with him? Doesn't make any sense.
Because she has all the anchors around her that remind her of why she is in love with him, and she falls in love with him every day. That's the aim. Yes. And they have a baby and everything. Yeah. Pretty awkward for the baby. Yeah. Mum, who are you? Yeah. What are you?
That's the baby.
Why am I on a boat?
Yeah. Tell me if the baby had it as well. It would be. Adam Sandler did just, both the mum and the baby keeps forgetting every day who they are. The baby wouldn't really matter because I wouldn't really know that until, I don't know, how would that work?
I've come dressed as a zebra today, if you're watching this on YouTube, by the way.
No, I've come dressed as a piece of concrete.
Oh, you're so weird.
Great.
Do you know what? Right.
Go on.
You don't always have to just come out with shit.
Oh, so what was that you just... I'm dressed as a zebra today? You're not. You haven't got a massive horse's head on.
Hang on a minute. Anybody who wants to comment on why I might have suggested that I've come dressed as a zebra, please do feel free to join in the comments below with hashtag, yes, you do look like a zebra.
For anybody who isn't watching this on YouTube and listening on a podcast on iTunes, she's sat literally a zebra coat, but she's not come dressed as a zebra because she hasn't got a massive zebra head on and another person behind her. It's a pantomime zebra. So people that are listening, not watching, because how are they going to know that you're dressed as a zebra? Because if you say I'm come dressed as a zebra on the podcast on iTunes, they're going to be sat there listening thinking, what, she's actually dressed up as a full zebra? We should do that. Have you frozen in time now? Dick. Go on, you were saying you come dressed as a zebra. What? Come on, you come dressed as a zebra. Ricky Gervais will have something to say about that if you come dressed as a zebra.
Well, it was leading on to something.
All right, go on then.
No, it's fine.
No, I want
to listen. It's fine now, you've ruined it.
Have I? What was it?
It was a zonkey.
Oh, what? Oh, you were just telling me about that?
Right, yeah. Well, I was just telling you about that, but...
Go on, you need to tell them now. Because I wasn't really listening when you were telling me. I just heard the...
So mothers just basically become narcissists when they have children, and then the husbands just stop listening to them. So that's what we can all take from today so far. A zonkey is a donkey and a zebra that mate, and they're very rare, but there's two in the UK and one's just been born. And I'm wearing a zebra coat that does not suit this kitchen, but I'm cold. I also have, again, if you're watching on YouTube, a hot water bottle. My hot water bottle, for anybody who can't see it, says Emma loves Pete, Tide, Evan, and hot water bottles. What it should read is Emma loves Tide, Evan, Wookie, Molly, Blue Chase and Poppy, hot water bottles and Pete. Probably some food items would be.
I feel like I'm the sort of like... I'm like a villain today.
Well, it's all right, because all women are narcissists once they have children, so that's why I can't think about you anymore. No room. About my children all the time.
Taking photos of the first day at school and stuff.
Do you know what's really nice, though? That we had this break from the podcast because of all the issues that are being ironed out at the moment. And like I said, I feel like I'm leading up to some kind of murder mystery expose where it's like, this is what happened. But genuinely, it's just impossible to even talk about right now.
Yeah.
For lots of reasons that have been pretty challenging. But nonetheless, you know, like my mum says, you just pick yourself up, you move on, get on with it. Or like my brother said to my mum today, I never had a day off school because you made me go, even when I was ill. That's the type of mother you are. You have no patience. You're the most impatient mother I've ever could imagine. It's like literally that's what he said today.
And that was coming from Ashes, which is the angel kid. So
he is the angel kid.
He is the angel kid.
But it was really cute because my mum, realistically, we've talked about this before, my brother is brilliant. And he is the most patient person you'll ever meet. You know, there are some people who just like tell you that they're really patient, but they're kind of a bit patient, but not necessarily very patient. I'm the same. I'm like massively impatient. But him and my mum have got a really bonded relationship, you know, really bonded relationship. Yeah, and I genuinely know why he is what she would consider her favourite. It's not that she loves him more, she doesn't, but as a person, that's the person that she connects with mostly from throughout our lives. I think I'm really close to her now, but nonetheless, that's how it stands. But whatever he says matters. So my mum is not like a conflictual person with him because my dad's been really ill and my dad's still dealing with quite a lot of the anxiety. So if you've ever had delirium or if you've experienced psychosis, another kind of side of that can be like hyper anxiety. It's really awful. It's one of those things where you kind of listen to the person and they're just in such mental anguish and you know that it'll pass with the right medication, time, support. But for my dad right now, it's just like really intolerable. It's intolerable. You know, you watch him walking down the street and it's intolerable. And like you can't get it through to him that a few weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago, he's nearly dead. Because for him, he's not back to normal and it's really difficult for him patience-wise. But my mum obviously is doing it 24/7. So she's getting pissed off. But my brother was like making it very clear, you can't be pissed off with somebody who's ill. And you kind of get it, but at the same time, I know that I'd probably be that person. I'd probably be like, right, Peter, enough now, Peter. You know, it's like one of those things. And you have to be kind of very methodical with my dad and go through why he's feeling the way he is and why all that paperwork from the hospital is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. And you're kind of doing all this stuff. But it made me giggle today when my brother was kind of telling my mum what an impatient person that she'd been. But anyway, that's by the by. We've been going through these challenges nonetheless, including family ones. Yeah. And what's really heartening is the fact that whenever we do a podcast, like people listen and then they're like, oh, we're really glad to hear you back. And we're really happy to see that things are okay. Or, you know, really sad that you're going through that kind of stuff. And it's a really interesting experience because, I don't know, the world's kind of quite a lonely place sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it just reminds you that even in your kind of loneliest and most challenging of times, there are people that, you know, if you live next door to them, that invite you around for a brew. And I kind of think that that's quite sad about the world to some degree. You know, you can see from our podcast, don't get me wrong, you get some right knobheads getting in touch, do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, welcome, that's fine. You can't put yourself
right.
out there, can you? You can't put yourself out there and not introduce yourself to that negativity. But it's far outweighed by the positivity. And I think our listeners, they just like make a massive effort to remind us that like they would be the people who put a kettle on and said, just come in and natter away at your feelings.
See, I mean, this podcast is, you know, it's not about doing it for any political or spiritual reasons or anything. It's just a general discussion podcast. And if anything as well, like we've said before on other podcasts, it's something to leave your mark to your kids and your kids' kids and your kids', you know, your grandchildren, you know what I mean? So
my kids will listen to it and go, oh my God, wait a minute, Mum wasn't a straight A student. What?
Dad did what?
My kids will just, I don't want them probably to listen to it. Not until like 50 and 60, when they've established themselves.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like the whole sort of social media, the whole digital world now is keeping all. I mean, nobody has physical. I mean, probably do have physical photos, but photo albums are on the.
I've got all my old photo albums.
Yeah, we do.
See, Pete did a really weird thing. That I think. So I'm like first and last agree with the whole thing that when you've got a Facebook profile, if you've got like 16 X's on it, just get rid of it. But the physical ones, I kind of like physical photos, and you got rid of all your X and U's photographs together, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. That's just the point.
And you were like, I can't believe you've still got your wedding album, Emma.
Well, you know, but it's different though, because you've got 2 children with him. He's the biological dad, even though
we were happy then.
Yeah, I mean, even though I'm like more of a dad anyway here, but it's a biological dad. It's a different thing, isn't it? Because they're going to want to see. It's for them, really. It's not for you. You know, it's for them. I mean, I got rid of mine because I felt that 10 years of my life had just been absolutely and utterly wasted. There was absolutely no point, because I could have partied myself. I could have done what I did throughout those years, but by myself, and I had probably a lot more fun, to be honest. You know, I'd have worked where I worked. I'd have been by myself. I could have had a lot more fun. I just felt, and yeah, in fact, I've not really thought about that, but when I'm talking about it now, it felt and it feels as if there's been 10 years of my life, which was just everything I've done in that time. There was nothing that came out of it that you know, I didn't have kids or anything like that, so which I'm thank God for, because I didn't want to have kids with her. But it was more of I could have done it all of that, but by myself. And I wouldn't have wasted it. I'd have gone and gone, oh, I've had 10 years of brilliantness, you know. And the only thing that I would have wished was to have met you earlier.
But you wouldn't have been who you were.
I would.
No, you wouldn't.
Probably wouldn't have been as angry.
But you wouldn't have been who you were.
True.
You can't be who you are. You can't, like, change a breath of your experience and be who you are.
Well, I just got rid of the photos because, you know, there wasn't that many that I had.
I'm terrible. I hoard other people's photographs. Like, like I adopted an old lady when she was like, she wasn't too old back then, if I'm really honest. She was like in her late 60s. But we just like completely adopted her. I moved next door to her when I was at university, and I was like, she turned up with, I was a strict vegan at university. I'm vegetarian now. I will be vegan again. But
yeah,
I remember like I moved to this place, 29 Elgin Street in Deepdale in Preston, which is where I went to my first university. And firstly, I'd never even been to Preston, nor did I knew it exist until I actually didn't do as well in my A-levels and had to go somewhere. And I ended up in Preston. And I moved in the first semester. I rented this really shit place. It was awful. But of course, because I always do everything my way, and like can't listen to reason and sense, which is a regret of mine, until when I was an adult I realised that's fine. But as a kid, bloody hell, I wish somebody had just gone, Emma, just listen a bit. And I moved away with my boyfriend, who was manic depressive and really in a bad place a lot of the time, but I didn't even know what bipolar was then, obviously.
Yeah, it's not
absolutely not.
I didn't hear that until EastEnders, which I never used to watch, but I used to get forced to watch.
So anyway, this basically ended up, my parents are brilliant, working class mentality. Back in the day where you self-certified, if you could get a house, get a house. You self-certified, said what you earn.
How much do you earn? 6 million?
Enough. So I got this like really cheap 25 grand house, never got done up, you know, apart from me doing it up. Hey, I wallpapered those upstairs really well though. I remember I went to Next and they were selling off pieces of like these wallpapers, rolls of wallpaper, 75p. I did the whole of the upstairs in it, the whole of the upstairs.
That's not bad enough for Next wallpaper.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Good quality.
And it didn't need the paste. It was already on the back, so I just did it.
Really?
Yeah, even better. Yeah, you had to put it in the water and stuff and like spread it out. I did it really, really well. It was really thick. It was really good. And I tiled my bathroom. I tiled my bathroom.
I made a mosaic.
Not everywhere, but I tiled it. I was terrible. No, you're very good at stuff like that.
No.
I look like somebody let an 18-year-old tile a bathroom.
I tiled it. I tiled it all right, actually. I bet you did. The only thing I struggled with was angles. I didn't know how to manage to do that. Obviously, you just have the proper tools for it. And then it got to like...
Smashing it.
Well, it got to a point where...
Mosaic.
I did. I made him... I put a new sink in. Like a new sink. And I literally did all the top in a mosaic around it and put all the stuff over it. It looked pretty good. It was more of an artist sort of, you know, you get me. And I actually put a shower in as well. Yeah,
no, I wouldn't be able to do any of that. I never had a shower. I mean, I did buy one at one point, but I could never afford to have it fitted. I didn't have a bed. I slept on a mattress on the floor. I bought £40 sweet from an op shop, you know, the Salvation Army kind of thing. They brought it round for 40 quid, and it was like, I got it really cheap because it wasn't the fire retardant one. You can't sell them anymore. Back in the day, you could, 40 quid. And I lived there. And then one day, about 4 weeks after I'd moved in, I got a knock on the door, and there was this woman outside, and she always looked elderly, even though she wasn't too old at all. She's about 68 then. And she knocked on, and it was this woman called Hilda. And she kind of said, "Oh, I'm your neighbour." She was next door to us, obviously. Hers was the end terrace, mine was next to it. And she walked in and she was like, she didn't walk in, but she kind of stood on the doorstep, and I was like, "Hi," because obviously, like, I've always been like that with, like, brilliant, and neighbours come to say hello. And it was a really interesting kind of place to live because I knew all my neighbours. It was really good. Got into a fight with one of them across the road, but that's another story. And yeah, she kind of came in, told me that the guttering was leaking and said that she'd get it sorted for us. She was dead generous. And I remember just like having a little chat with her on the doorstep, and she was just lovely. And like, I remember she said to me, "If you ever want anything, come next door and I'll make you a cup of tea." And the next day, there was a knock on the door and I went, and she brought me cream cakes and prawns.
Cream cakes and prawns?
I didn't eat prawns and I didn't eat cream cakes, but I took the cream cakes and I said, "I'm vegetarian actually." I said, "I'm vegan." I said, "So I can't really have cream cakes." So my cat would love the prawns. And from that week on, every week, she went to Marks and Spencer's. Every week she got Tigger prawns. And every week, in spite of me telling her consistently that I didn't eat cake, she brought me cake. But
maybe she knew you were giving it to Tigger as well.
So began my story of wonder on a journey with a woman who was decades and decades. You know, she's my grandma's age. And I absolutely fell in love with her. And I used to, in the end, you know, the last 2 years of university, and I was there for longer, I would go up every morning and have my breakfast with her and her husband. And she didn't have any children. And then she started to relate to me as like her daughter, and I used to call her mum. And it was one of those gorgeous relationships. And when I left to go travelling, we had started having her at home, my mum and dad's, for Christmas with her husband. When Albert died, I did actually, when I went travelling, give them my car. Suffice to say, Albert did nearly kill many people, but he managed just not to kill anybody.
Really
but it was
cute. I think that's really cute.
It was close, but he loved that car for those years. And when he died, I was with Hilda, and we were both in the hospital together, and we were very, very close. And then she came and lived with us around here. So, you know, that was how our story was.
Where did she live?
She came down to we went to there's a place called the Methodist home at the bottom.
Yeah.
She spent 2 weeks with me, 3 times a year. So she'd have 2 weeks at my house when I used to live in Unsworth. So that was usually Christmas would do 2 weeks, Easter would do 2 weeks, and end of September usually 2 weeks.
I think that's so cute. I think it's so canny that.
Well, it is. But then we moved just around the corner from here. But if I'm honest, the saddest part of it is that I just exchanged contracts on the house that was around the corner from the home, because then she could have come and stayed, and I had a room downstairs. Yeah. Anyway, we never got to that. But my mum and dad were amazing then. They brought her in and everything.
Yeah.
But she's my other mum.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever known what it's like to be properly unconditionally loved.
Yeah.
And because your parents, I'm sure they do unconditionally love you fully, but your expectation is that they should.
Yeah, I get it.
But like, she was somebody who just didn't need to. She's amazing. I've got all her pictures. So there you go. carrying around that story to this
We're
point.
still
I keep everybody's pictures, including people's that have
Well,
got no family relationship.
Yeah, you've actually still got Hilda.
Yeah, I have got Hilda.
You have, yeah.
Well, my mum took half of her.
Oh, right, you still got some.
I'm very attached to Ashes.
So where's the other half?
We spread her.
Oh, where?
Just over in, just basically if you go up to Lytham,
Yeah.
there's a really kind of beautiful place there, and it's where she had some happy memories. So
Oh, man, what?
not like a legal spreading, more of a, kind of spreading.
Oh, I don't think anybody does legal spreadings to the...
Well, we didn't.
Would you have to ring? Ring the legal spreading. Hello, is that the legal spreading hotline?
Yeah.
Hi there. I'm just going to come down and spread someone. It's
I
just
loved her very much. She was a very wonderful person. But yeah, I keep everything. If I could get Pam off Daz, I'd nick that as well.
That's not going to happen, is it?
No, because he's not going to give me. Can I have your ex-partner's ashes, please? I'd really like just half of them.
Yeah.
Just give us half.
Just a little bit.
We've got our little cats in boxes. Oh, it's just, one of those. It's like one of them if you did like come dine with me and they went round the house and they arrived at the cupboard. What the hell is this?
What's this?
Gift bag?
Yeah.
Oh, what's this gift bag?
Oh, look at this. Open it up. Oh, Jesus.
Cookies?
Yeah. It's better than having them stuffed, though, isn't
I
it?
know.
Well, in the room is just a load of stuffed like things.
It has been mad though. Recently it's been so mad. But we are getting back into our every week situation because at the end of the day, that's what you should do with a podcast.
It is, and we need to keep that up, which we will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been hard.
it has been very hard. Life's hard.
No.
Life isn't really hard.
Life's a blessing, but just sometimes it's a bit hard.
Yeah.
And we're lucky.
Yeah, we are lucky.
I can sit on here dressed as a zebra in my kitchen. I'm warm, I've got a hot water bottle, I've got coffee.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah.
I said to my dad today, remember Dad, our mantra in our house is food in my belly, roof over my head, love in my heart, we're a millionaire in the world, remember that.
Absolutely. We'll keep saying that on every podcast, won't we? Last podcast, it was quite a serious one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know it was a bit ranty.
It wasn't ranty.
I think I was a bit ranty.
I think, we've got a lot going on, and I think it was quite a serious one. Do that again. What? Oh, hello!
Can we make my ponytail into moustache?
Yeah, let's make it a little bit more light-hearted than this podcast.
I don't know how to make it light-hearted, though. There's not a lot of light-hearted
For a second then, if it wasn't for that bit sticking up, if you're not watching this and listening to it, she's actually got her hair over her lip. And that is brilliant. She looks like a cat moustache.
Do you know what? Once, me and Pete, when we first got together, I went to Ibiza for a weekend with the girls. And it was one of those, I shouldn't have gone. The girl we went with, one of them dropped out because she couldn't get the time off work. The other one, I wasn't really that close friends with, but she's lovely and she was a really nice girl. But really, she didn't want to go. So we ended up going. And on the first night, I went and met my friend who was dealing with the clubs there. So I was kind of getting in free and I didn't have to worry about paying. And somebody just walked up to me, took my iPhone out of my hand, didn't they? And just walked off with it. And I was like, I literally wasn't going to go and challenge them. It was like, whatever, I've lost my iPhone. Went back to the hotel. I am like the most straight-headed person there.
Was it locked as well, though? Was it locked?
Yeah, it was locked, but somebody could have done that. Went back, completely rational, and went into that place, asked them at the hotel, they let me use all the stuff, and then I managed to get Helen's iPhone, and I called you, and we spent the whole night with me putting my hair in different positions over my head. And it's amazing on FaceTime how many different hairstyles you can make when you've got
I was mesmerised by it.
Yeah.
I was absolutely mesmerised.
Yeah, at the end of it, I almost considered having quite a short hairstyle.
That was the morning I went out and got lost in an alleyway, wasn't it?
That was when you got lost in an alleyway.
Yeah,
you did. We were in very different states. You'd had a massive party. I genuinely had been sorting out my iPhone situation with O2.
Yeah, it was literally like an alleyway which never stopped ending. And I was like, oh my God, this is massive. Yeah, it was weird. Anyway.
I've been feeling quite nostalgic recently.
We do on these podcasts. We've talked about this before. I mean, I've been through a period actually in the past few months. I haven't done it for a bit now because I thought to myself, I'm doing it all the time. Everybody I come across who looks similar to my age, I just start talking to them about nostalgia and years ago, and it's obviously the midlife. What is it that crisis.
You're nostalgic about?
Everything.
What are you nostalgic about? Though?
Growing up, being a kid.
Let us know what you're nostalgic about. Comment below, please, and we'll return to that next week and debate whether we actually also feel your nostalgia. Apparently, 2 out of 3 memories that create nostalgia make you feel happier. I think a lot of the ones that I create make me feel sad because when I think of them, I was younger, freer, poorer, but therefore freer, and didn't really take a lot of things that seriously back then. But nonetheless, that must be because I'm owed quite a lot of positive nostalgic memories, because the two that are meant to be positive must arrive at some point.
Just nostalgia gets me. It's probably, I don't know, coming to Christmas time I get nostalgia. Bonfire.
When the darkness starts.
Yeah,
And
the smells. Whoa, the smells, yeah. It's always the smells, you know. Even in the summer, you've got the cut grass, the light aeroplanes.
We had a Christmas tea the other day, didn't we? We had a Christmas dinner.
We did. It's like a practice run, vegetarian style. Honestly, anybody who runs business out there, which is in a catering business, restaurants, or anything like that, just start doing stuff which is like normal food, but like, you know, burgers and sausages, you know, like corn stuff, whatever. Probably the corn stuff is the best stuff. And you honestly, you'll make a mint because, or as a vegetarian, we'll come and eat there because it is, you know, it's not all about halloumi and bloody, you know, what else is the goat's cheese and halloumi, pasta.
Lasagna.
Just start doing stuff, which has got the alter. And when you do a veggie burger, don't. Tell you what, here's a tip for you if you're in a restaurant, right? And you want to do vegetarian burgers, get Linda McCartney's quarter pounders or the mozzarella or the pulled pork ones. Hands down, can't beat them.
Well, I imagine that millions of those listeners who all own vegan eateries and vegetarian eateries will have taken that tip. Thanks for that there, poor Pete.
Yeah.
I do get annoyed that when I go to a restaurant, they put one option for vegetarians.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
pretty...
screw you.
Well, there was a guy the other day, then I sort of did a thing on Twitter. I replied to him. I don't know why he came up. Someone replied to him. Somebody who's... You know, because you get the vegans out there that are staunch, and that's what people say, that they give vegans a bad name by going over the top and being very aggressive with it, you know, but then it's still, that's up to them. With this guy, there was a comment by a reporter or something, and he said something in a joke or something that he'd like to systematically kill vegans, yeah, you know. And this guy writes for The Guardian. I don't know what he writes for, but he's a journalist and he does Worry Radio and stuff, and he put a tweet on there saying, and I get the first bit of it, he said something about, like, you know, welcome the world's got to a point where you can't say anything without anybody getting offended. I get that. There's a lot of things that you can't say which people get offended, but there is some things that you just think, come on, you know. But then he said, it's, you know, these vegans, they choose to eat plants, blah, 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 you know. And I thought, it's not, and I thought to myself, you know what, it's not about choosing to eat plants, you dickhead. You know what I mean?
No,
so I replied to
kill.
That's exactly what I said. I said, right, I get it. I said to him, I get you, right, when you say that the world's gone a little bit mad, just a little bit mad on, like, being a bit over the top with when people say things, you know. But certain things offend other people, whatever, you know, but there is a limit to it. I said, your comment about saying that vegans and vegetarians choose to eat plants, you know, is absolutely wrong. I don't choose to eat plants, mate. I said, I choose not to kill animals. And then I said, as an intelligent and respected journalist, you know, and I said, who has got a fair bit of intelligence, it was quite a long tweet I put down, you know, you must know that killing isn't right. And I just thought, that's a deep down, you do know. Lots of people liked it and retweeted it, you know what I mean? Because I thought, and it's not a dig at people who are eating meat, you know, but this is, I used to eat meat massively, I mentioned before, and it's not a dig. It's just a fact. Everybody who eats meat must know deep down inside them that they're killing animals and it's not right.
Well, I hope
obviously there's going to be quite a lot of people that go hunting, don't care. You know what I mean? That's you know. But there is. It's just, I don't know. I'm not saying you're not intelligent, all right. You know what I'm saying is.
You're saying that they don't think about it because if you
it's like you're compartmentalising the whole sort of like killing the animals, blah blah blah. Because it's the same when people go, oh, halal, bloody killing, strutting the throats, and you know what I mean. It's easy with a bolt to the head. And you know, I don't get that. Just, you know, I don't like the way halal meat's made.
Well, it's
and
a bit like somebody going, do you want to be electrocuted?
Yeah.
Do you want lethal injection?
This genuinely isn't a mix. I used to eat meat and I have friends that hunt and stuff, you know, and there's you could sit there and debate the arse of it, but what I'm saying is just deep down when you're eating meat, you must know that it's like you're killing animals. But you're killing animals.
But it's flesh.
And that whole sort of theory of, like, people are going to hate me for saying this, bloody meat eaters away, or vegetarians, there you go, spouting your shite. But I'll say it again, I used to eat meat, and I just didn't want to kill anymore. You know, and the argument of having incisors for teeth and all that, in your teeth to eat meat with, it's just shit, it's not right. You know, and I just think, just have a think about it, you know what I mean? So, and that was my issue with this guy on sort of on Twitter past week, and I've totally lost where I was going to there because you were talking about vegetarianism, And I got on my high horse.
We
So
were
I've just
talking about-
proved that, yes,
We
we
were talking
can.
about nostalgia, and I said about Christmas
Yeah.
dinners, and you decided to
Have a rant about...
explore
Yeah.
the issues around veganism.
Yeah.
and
Well, I'm not
vegetarianism.
vegan. You know, I'd like to be. You know,
Veganism
I'm
is
fine.
what happens as soon as the children stop having milk in their tea
Yeah.
and things like that.
Well, people like fair play, like Leonardo DiCaprio and stuff like that, you know. I don't know if Brad Pitt... Is Brad Pitt vegan?
No idea. I don't keep up with any celebrities.
Because he was talking about it with him the other day, but, you know, they're really pushing for stuff, aren't they? So, but anyway, this isn't a vegetarian, vegan podcast, is it? But, you know.
But no, I was saying nostalgia. And I was saying about the fact that I'm quite nostalgic at the moment
Yeah.
because I think that I was looking back the other day at childhood and I was imagining the childhood that my children have versus the childhood that I had.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you think about the whole comparison of being an 80s child with the comparison of being a millennial or a centennial child, I kind of go, like, there's definitely never been anything as exciting as the technology age that we're in now. Like, so I totally appreciate that. And that's the whole devotion I've had for the last 5 years in my business, has been like, how do you create something that's both well and tech? So I get it. But then I was just looking back at childhood and I was thinking, you know, like, I can remember when you would get a pair of roller skates that would basically be two pieces of metal shoved together that you could extend from like tiny all the way to like a size 7, and then at the end it'd just have like two like thin pieces
Buckles,
of leather.
yeah.
No, you wouldn't. You'd have at the end for your toes, you'd have two thin pieces of leather tied together with a bow,
Yeah.
and then you'd have like a little strap over, and you'd put them on your feet, and without any concepts of the danger you were in, and you just like go hell for leather, you would definitely fall over and hurt yourself.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. And the other thing was, like, your parents would present you with a second-hand bike at Christmas. It would be 3 sizes too big for you, and you wouldn't give a shit. You just get on it. You just go to the side when you needed to stop.
Yeah.
Everything was like that. And I was kind of going through, everybody these days is so scared of the issues and risks to life that it kind of stops you living.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, when I was a kid, I literally climbed trees, fell down things, broke stuff. Mum and Dad said there was at A&E so often that they had social services out. These kind of things were just normal parts of the 80s childhood.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thinking, I'm glad that I was there for that as well as there for this, because our kids have lived so much more of like that confined life. You know, the confined life. Don't get me wrong, they were kicked out at 5 years old and 7 years old to go to the park together, and their whole childhoods were outside, because I happen to have that kind of mindset. But as they've grown into teens and they've followed peers, everything kind of is in their room, or they're not really taking those kind of risks anymore. And you kind of sit there and think, there's a sanitized version of childhood that I'm really glad I didn't experience, because genuinely, like, just think about what we used to do.
Well, I've just, when you mentioned there,
I mean,
you
wait a
mentioned
minute.
trees.
We had a park. Back in the day, parks did not have bouncy grounds. Parks were full of concrete and glass.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was a
yeah.
park.
With puke
yeah?
machines on.
Absolutely. And you would have a rocket that was so high, and it would have a pole in the middle, and people would always be breaking things.
Well, there's photos online. And if you look back to, say, I think like 1930, I don't know, it might even, from Victorian times upwards to now, and look at children's, if you check it out and Google this, and you'll see some photos of children's playgrounds over the years, right? You will see
like kids
some, right?
swinging round like
Oh,
that,
no,
right?
there's some photos, right? And it's basically just ladders, imagine ladders, metal ladders in rows up, then metal ladders across, and metal ladders down, then across and across, ropes hanging off. 50 foot in the bloody air,
Yeah,
kids up there hanging upside
we
down.
had stuff like that. We had stuff like that. My
Yeah.
dad actually ripped his finger on a ladder one that was up and across. It was really dangerous, but it didn't matter because it went like this, and this is how the world used to be. You get on it, you fall off it.
Yeah.
Your problem.
Yeah.
You did it.
You always had your mates either breaking their arms or getting
but
rock
the
fights
whole
in the
thing
air.
was, you choose to get on that, mate.
One thing I'll say to you, and you'll probably understand, and anybody who's like sort of over 40 will understand, is building sites.
I know, but what I'm saying about, you're not listening.
I am.
No, you're not. You're not listening to the point. The point is, you're not. You're
Go on.
so bad. You go off with some thought. Oh, I want to talk about building sites now.
You're saying about building it.
Still go on building sites because building sites, they still exist. They haven't sanitised them. Some have security, most don't. Kids do go on building sites, right? Hopefully happy kids who enjoy taking a bit of risk. They go on building sites. Parks are nothing like they were.
No, they're not.
Because it's gone from you having responsibility to the council having responsibility, or the school having responsibility, or the hospital having responsibility. Wherever the park is, wherever the little plaything is, it's not your responsibility anymore. You get hurt, you can sue somebody.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So like all the fun goes.
That's
not
quite
because,
that's quite an American thing, isn't it? The sort of suing
it's just
thing,
a
you know?
litigious society. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, I'm glad I grew up when.
You weren't wrapped in cotton wool.
No, when I broke things.
Yeah.
Although my son did break his arm off falling off a ladder thing.
You know what though? I think that you have brought. But when I came into your life, I could see that you brought Tide and Everno, two boys up
Yeah.
in a very 70s and 80s way.
Yeah, I did. But then they got to high school.
Yeah, no, chop their hair off and
Everything changed.
yeah.
Everything changed. Because
Yeah.
they get self-power and self-determination in a way that, you don't want to control.
It is a
You've
whole.
got to keep it there.
It is a different way.
It is. It's a different way. It's like I can say
know.
to the kids 24/7 now, look, go out. But the thing I can't do is these days throw them out of the house. Like I used to back in the day, I'd be like, right, go on, off you go to the park for a few hours, get an ice cream and, learn about money and all of that. And
It was like there were the days that like if you had a pet dog, you'd go to work and you'd let your dog out, get back in from work and let your dog in. That's why you used to see.
Yeah.
Loads of people will totally understand
I know.
what we're saying here. Like,
I used to want to adopt all the dogs in
yeah,
our
you just
area.
see so many, not wild dogs, but dogs roaming around.
I had like a
But
full-
these dogs were someone's dogs.
I had a lassie dog for a day.
Did you? We've
Me
done that.
and
We've
my mum's friend's daughter, we found this like lassie dog, and I was like, that's definitely, it's a lassie dog.
Yeah.
And we like owned it for a bit, and we got it pedigree chum, and we even tried to see whether you could do that pedigree chum where you sliced it in half.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. It worked.
Did
Anyway,
it?
the dog loved it. Yeah,
did you
but
manage
I've
that?
still no idea.
How did you scrape that? Or did you scrape it out of the thing and then
I
plonk
went
it?
up to my mum and dad's
Yeah.
because it was my dog then. I decided it was my dog. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously I
we've-
was immediately told it wasn't my dog, and then I was told to take it back where we'd originally found it, which.
Stray dogs and glue sniffers where I used to live. Stray dogs and glue sniffers.
Do you remember all the like kind of social stuff that comes to school and talk to you about glue sniffers, and you'd be like,
We had a drugs talk once, and that was in seniors. Other than that, no, I don't. I had to find out about. I used to live in a place
No,
called
I
Eston, and
remember.
like Eston Hills was
everyone
like.
who's listened to this podcast has heard you talk about how you lived in Heston and what
Heston.
Eston and what it was like and
Yeah.
where it was and how rough it was a million times.
Have they?
Yep.
What if they're just tuning into it now? I won't go over it again. But I believe this. There was lots of glue sniffers up Eston Hills.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
surprised you survived with all the things you've told us about Eston Hills. I'm surprised have you told them that you got stabbed?
Yeah, I got stabbed. That wasn't in Eston Hills, so. I had no pain. She just winked at me.
You did actually get stabbed though.
I know I got stabbed.
You've never told them the story about the stabbing.
Haven't I?
No.
I've never told anybody on this
Oh,
podcast.
you've told everyone about the Eston Hills. I mean, Eston, bloody hell, Eston. They'll probably make a movie,
The
Eston.
Scissor Man and the glue.
Eston Hills, Eston Hills.
There's been a
2.
movie. There's been a movie about Eston Hills. By I can't remember his name now, but he's a really good little filmmaker from Middlesbrough. And
Is he little?
I don't know. Small as in like not a massive like Spielberg or anybody near that.
Danny Boyle.
And he made a film on Eston Hills, and it was about the iron ore mines up there, and it's absolutely brilliant, especially if you live there. If you don't live there and you're not interested in like iron ore and history, probably boring. But there we go, a bit of a plug for Eston Hills. Yeah, I got stabbed. Somebody stole the roof of our den, so we went to get it back, and then they followed us, and we got.
Did they use an iron ore spear?
That's what they used. Yeah, they used a spear. I think it's them with a knife. It was
I
a
know you got
spear
a
off a
spear.
fence,
I know.
a rusty spear, and he just got stabbed in the arm.
And
Can't see it
hand,
there, and
properly
hands there.
stabbed. Well,
There.
10, were you?
Bit younger probably.
Terrible.
Yeah,
How did we survive that childhood?
don't know.
Either of us, like,
No,
we were
no
either
police.
falling off
You know what I mean?
things.
No police, nothing. No police or anything.
I can remember the first conversation I had with the police
I got
officer.
stabbed.
I know you did.
No police.
No, no, it's terrible. Well, that's your mum. Oh, it'll be all right, Pete. It'll be all right.
I know. Yeah, Sarah Milligan.
No, that wasn't. That was good. That was your mum.
Was it?
Oh, it'll be all right, Pete.
Well, you get me doing, my mum might watch this, you know what I mean? Like, if that, she'll be like, I don't speak like that.
And you do. Oh,
You
Pete.
do, mum, yeah.
You do.
Yeah. You're
Well, she
almost-
would. She'd be like that. Oh, no bother. My dad had just gone round beating up whoever the kid's dad was, and that was it. So it was done in the 70s and 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Got a problem with
with
my kid, have you? Yeah. Right, I'm round your dad and I'm going to deck him.
Yeah, I remember getting punched in the forehead when I was a little kid.
My dad had been like,
nicked my ball, kicked the ball off,
died.
and then like punched me in like the temple. And all I could think was, I've been told that if you ever get punched in the temple, you're going to die.
Everyone's heard
and
that.
I started crying, and I was thinking, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die.
My dad used to say the same.
It was terrible.
One punch to the temple and you can be dead.
I just came over on the field and just got the ball, nicked the ball, booted it on the road so the cars ran over it. Everyone else ran off and I was stood there going, what are you doing? And the biggest one just came, it must have been about 20. I was like 8 or something. It must have been 20, just went, smack. And it's like, dump. And I was like, I'm going to die. That's it. I'm going to die now. And all I could do, was think to myself, because you ruminate on things when you're a kid, don't you? Oh, I'm going to die.
When's it going to happen?
Yeah. It's like when remember that film, that nuclear war film came out?
Oh, and
Day After Tomorrow. Yeah. And it was like around the Falkland Wars as well. I saw it on TV. And where I lived under Eston Hills, and like it was like ICI and stuff was there, the Wilton, the sort of big, industrial place where Terminator 2 was filmed by Jack Bauer. All I could think about was, my God, there's going to be a nuclear war. And the Falklands was on. I was reading things like in the bloody paper, and I was a kid just thinking, Christ, we're all just going to die. And the nightmares I had, I wouldn't dare go out. I didn't want to go up Eston Hills anymore. I thought we were going to die because of this bloody TV thing. I ruminated on it, you know what I mean? Then I remember watching Poltergeist, the first horror film I ever saw, except for Carrie. Ruminated on that. Thought I was going to die, get attacked. Piranha, the film, couldn't go in the bath anymore. Thought I was going to get eaten by fish. Honestly, I was like, just my brain just went off.
Not a point where you thought to yourself, just need to stop.
Yeah, now I still do it. The stuff I used to ruminate on, honestly, it was like, and then, if I wasn't ruminating on things, I was getting into everything I could possibly get into. Right, Garfield posters, cut them, draw them, put them on the wall. Michael Jackson, stick him up there as well. Skateboards, finger skateboards. Quick, I can't just have a finger skateboard. I've got to make a full cardboard skate park in my room. You know what I mean? Like all these things, and my brain was just like, Jesus Christ.
Jamie, none of you know Jamie. Jamie's one of my best friends. Jamie showed me a video of his son Rory doing Michael Jackson. He's become obsessed with Michael Jackson. I don't think that was you, yeah? And he said, I've got a video. The last time I saw a video of Rory was like 3 years ago. Like Rory's like a proper young lad now, like 7. And he showed it me and I'm ready for this little video. And he was amazing. He's literally gone obsessively into Michael Jackson, learned all the moves. He's in fact a moonwalk like you would not believe. A 7-year-old white boy moonwalking.
Well, see, what I used to do is when I got into something, because I couldn't afford to go into like Athena and buy the posters, and because Athena, like say Garfield, I went through a Garfield phase. You go into Athena, loads of Garfields, loads of posters. You get the little ones.
I couldn't afford any of that.
So like, what I'd do is I'd draw them, over and over and over again. All by the way, all in all, underneath all this, I was a Star Wars fanatic, so that was always there. You know what I mean? And I had just these obsessions with...
of film.
Yeah, I got it. I'm sure my cousin Andrew used to do it. He used to have these like sort of like things that I could... And he got into Star Wars. He was always into that. And I knew he was into like these various things and I could see him.
Nobody would ever know if you listened to this podcast that Pete was also into Star Wars. It's never...
No, it's never been said.
It's never cropped up.
Yeah, but he used
to withhold his bowels by playing Star Wars.
I used to actually play on my Star Wars when I needed the shit. You know what I mean? People would sit on pillows. People would read magazines, you know what I mean? I'd go and play with my fucking Star Wars. You know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, Pete needs a clap again. That's what it was a joke in the house, Oh, do you need a poo? What are you on about? Playing with Star Wars, you know what I mean? 17 years old. What are you doing, Pete? I remember the last time I ever played with him. I got the Action Force figures, the G.I. Joe figures that my brother had, and I just started them in as well, and I just got this thing when I was playing like a Sabutio ball and I'd play football with him. It was just bizarre. It was nothing to do with Star Wars or G.I. Joe. They were football players. I'd make 2 goals, need a shit and play with them. That was when I was 22.
I used to literally...
That was yesterday.
I never really had toys. I never wanted dolls or anything. My mum said I was really awkward.
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted a guitar one Christmas. I've told you about that. I've not forgiven my parents for this. I literally haven't. I apologise if I've ever talked about this before. I don't think I have.
I don't think you have.
On the podcast, but you forget. So apologies if we have. But there was this year that I was like 9 and I didn't ask for a lot because Mum and Dad, like most parents those days, you just didn't have any money. So like Mum and Dad always gave us a proper good Christmas. Like we got a pillowcase full of presents, like so we'd get like 10 or 11 presents or whatever. It's like massive for us that, you know,
I had
get
Christmases.
second-hand bike or whatever. It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome.
My Christmases were really good. I mean, it was
yours were expensive Christmas, but we didn't. But what we got, like, it was a lot for what we had. So it was just the most exciting time in the world. And my mum, this Christmas, I had asked for like 6 months. I wanted an electric guitar. I wanted an electric guitar. I wanted an electric guitar. And I like consistently, I didn't let go of it. I wanted an electric guitar. I wanted to be an electric guitar player. That was what I decided I wanted to be.
You'd have been a good electric guitar player.
Well, I mean, I was a terrible violinist. So let's just say on my first attempt at string instruments, at that point I was playing the violin. I was literally terrible. I mean, terrible to the point where when I had to do a solo, no, it wasn't a solo. It was a trio with, you know, Matthew, my friend on Facebook, and the drugs counsellor.
Yeah.
He, Janet Darlington, who's another friend on Facebook, and me had to play the sailor's hornpipe in front of the whole school and all the parents because, like, we'd really nailed it.
How does that go? Yeah. So the Blue Peter theme tune.
Yeah, right.
The thing is, the violin, though, it's not, it's, you know, unless you like
well,
that, you know.
We'd nailed it. We'd nailed it. We'd been taught quite a lot, right?
Right,
and then halfway through, I just gave up and just put it down and acted like I didn't have a part in it.
Did you do the hornpipe?
I just looked at them like that. And then the last one, I picked it up and did it again because I was just like, I just don't want to do this. So that had been my experience.
That's rebellious, that.
No, it wasn't. It was just, I got a bit like overwhelmed by it all. It was pretty overwhelming. Didn't last. The next year I was cast as the lead in Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat. And my parents had to have a debate with the music teacher who was making me be Joseph at this point because she wanted
Did you want to be Joseph?
Oh, of course I did. It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
For anybody who doesn't know, I actually had the lead in all my...
Shut up. Anyway, I was Joseph, but they wanted to make me wear no top because I was only a kid.
All right.
I was like 10,
Still.
11. Like, and they wanted me to potentially not, and they were like, my mum was like, no, she's a, you know, that was like what it was like in the day.
Still 10 and 11 though, it's still like you're starting
there was nothing there.
Yeah,
there was nothing there till I was 18.
Come on, you know, these days.
Literally, I was a very late bloomer. But the point is that when I was going through whatever the dogs were just making a massive entrance. No, you're right, Poppy Chips.
Wasn't that? Poppy just literally just bulled over the smallest dog we've got.
We've got the cutest animals in the world. But anyway, back to the point that I was just making. So string instruments and me were not good. But I'd wanted this guitar, and I desperately wanted this guitar, and like did these half-size guitars, electric, that you could get. Always good. That was what I was going to get, because obviously it's the one thing that I'd asked for. I get to Christmas Eve, and my mum sits me in the bath, because obviously when you were a kid, your parents, like, my brother would always have a bath together. Sitting in the bath, my mum's doing my hair. She's doing my hair. I hated having my hair done. Anybody else out there who's like an 80s child, you hate having your hair done. It's awful, like dragging your hair through. And then she throws into the conversation, Emma, do you know what's really bad? The shops have sold out of every electric guitar. So we couldn't get you one. We asked Father Christmas, but Father Christmas said that there are no electric guitars anywhere. And I was like, okay, Mum. Because I was an accepting child, you know, I wasn't ungrateful. The next day at Christmas, I woke up. They'd got me a classical full-sized guitar. Like, you try at 9 to feign excitement. And then they said, when they saw my face look, both the mix of horror, confusion, hurt, and just general disappointment, they went, the man who owned that used to play in an orchestra. Because that's obviously how I saw myself. The reason I wanted that electric guitar was because secretly I harboured a desire to one day play in a classical orchestra. That was the exact reason behind. And thus ends my experience with music. That was it.
No way.
That was it. Never got picked up. Was shit. Hated it. Literally hated it. Broke it pretty quickly on purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was so hurtful.
Absolutely.
Really
and
bad.
I can't believe that all electric guitars have been sold out in the world.
It took me till about 15 to realise I lied.
Oh, they lied? I'm joking.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, imagine that if you still thought it. Can't believe all electric guitars have been
Do
sold
you know
out.
what I mean?
That's just terrible.
Isn't it?
If I prefer the guitar, I'd like to play
Properly
the
felt
bass.
disappointed with Father Christmas as well. Like, I was properly projecting. Father Christmas, that bastard.
Yeah, I'm not going to believe in him anymore.
So much. I've been really good all year.
Yeah, I had good Christmases.
What did your mum and dad used to say about what would happen if you didn't behave?
Oh, it was the coal.
Did
A
you?
piece of coal, yeah.
We got 3 stripes on the wall, 3 black stripes on the wall.
You got 3. Is that from Cole though? Is it like?
Well, I don't know. It was just like.
Was it marker pen?
I mean, it could have been.
3 black stripes on the wall. Never heard of that one.
You
Ours was a bag of coal,
Yeah.
just a bag of coal, you know, like, and it was just. What we used to do though. So we used to have stockings, but they weren't stockings. We used to get one of our dad's old ICI socks. So anybody who's worked at ICI or dad's worked at ICI, they'd be like the orange, like a weird sort of orange, yeah. So with ICI on them or not, you know, is socks.
Okay, we can
So
get a sock.
we'd put them on the mantelpiece, and then we get up in the morning, and they'd be full of like, you know, the gold coin chocolates and an orange and all this like sweets and stuff. So it was like Smarties and that. And then we'd have the presents. So we're like every year we'd I think not every year, but we'd get a bike quite a lot. You know, I mean, I remember getting a budgie, and one year, Chris got a Striker, like a green Striker bike. You know, but then from that, then it was just Star Wars. Like everybody in my family just get me Star Wars stuff, so it was literally just Star Wars every year and I loved it. It was like getting up into a world of Star Wars. You know, my auntie would come around the day, give us a couple of Star Wars bits, and my nana and granddad on the night we'd get Star Wars there. Not massive amounts, I mean, but just, you know, I'd get like every year one like a Millennium Falcon for the main present, and then you know, different things.
My mum and dad actually did get me a budgie. That was another massively disappointing present.
Yeah, we had a budgie once.
Yeah, but like I asked for a cat, and like
Yeah.
I'd begged for a cat because they'd said I couldn't have a dog.
Yeah.
So
Well, I begged for a cat.
Didn't
for a
have a
long time.
dog.
Yeah.
Didn't get a cat. So the day I came home for my birthday, they went, go behind the curtain, and like behind the curtain on like a stand was a brown piece of material,
Yeah.
and they were like, pull it off, and I was like, pulled it off, and there was a green budgie there.
Oh, a little green budgie.
I'd never had any inclination, like, it's weird.
Yeah. What do you call
it's
it?
like, well, it got called Peter.
Peter the budgie.
It wasn't even me.
Was it a
who called
budgie or was it a...
I was just like, it was just a tip to any parent. If a kid asks for a cat or a dog and doesn't specifically ask also for a bird, giving them a bird's like presenting them with a cockroach.
Yeah.
It's like so irrelevant. Like if I ask for a car and you bring me a pram, I'm literally... Doesn't matter how good the pram is, the pram can have super pram wheels and a proper pram Bluetooth system that I can plug my earphones into. It's just not, it's not a car. And it was the same with the cat and dog. And just to say, this is why...
pram Bluetooth system? This is amazing. What is this pram with a Bluetooth? What does it do? Why do you have Bluetooth? Is that so you walk along and someone calls you and you're like, that's just a Bluetooth headset. Bluetooth on your pram? I don't get it.
I
Sorry.
fear we have gone from the world of like just metaphor to the world of reality.
High speed pram Bluetooth.
I think I'm going to now look online and see whether there's a problem with the Bluetooth sound system.
There probably is. Oh, I'm choking. Excuse me. There probably is, because they've got little speakers probably in the side of the pram which play like lullabies and stuff to your kids or kid. Obviously, well, kids, if you've got twins in a Bluetooth pram system, pram. Are they called prams anymore? Oh, the buggies?
You're so weird. Yeah,
No,
they do. They do. So there you go. And if you want to look it up, you can check it out. Quite a few options on our
still not a car, though, is it?
eBay. No.
I'm choking too. Someone pumping. I'll cut that out. Wookie's looking at you. Look at Wookie looking at you. You all right?
Yeah, so any basic message to parents who are thinking about disappointing their child on the birthday with a bird as opposed to a feline or a canine, don't do it.
Yeah, I
Ruined it.
wouldn't,
And do you know what I did? I gave him a gran. So there. That's what happened.
Did you teach it to speak?
So I didn't even get a birthday present because I gave him a nan. No, it was too old.
It was an old budgie.
It was an old budgie. Don't even go there. Probably got off the guy who sold the orchestra
Yeah, it was
classical guitar.
yeah,
Probably is.
yeah.
Like, hey, do you want this for a birthday? Oh, brilliant. Yeah, she wanted a dog.
Yeah, I'll throw this budgie in with a guitar.
Do you know what I mean?
You have to keep it on the back though for a bit. That's why it's sold.
Terrible.
How
That
long
was
do
my
budgies
life.
live?
Actually, Peter lasted a long time and it turned into my grandma's greatest love.
Yeah.
When she'd lost my Uncle Cyril, she got another budgie.
Yeah.
Got another budgie after that.
We used to have budgies.
Peter, Joey, Peter, Louis.
I can't remember which one I was on. What were called? Why are they always called Peter? Were there any people that had budgies called Peter? You know.
Come in. Come on.
We have a child. He's more like a man now. Look how tall he
Go
is.
whatever you want.
Have you got-
Go whatever you want, baby.
I was just asking Pete for the version, but it's fine now. It's going to try and get on because it's a network thing.
Go on to your connection and
It says what connection though, it says a refresh.
wired.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird that they called it Peter because obviously my name's Peter, but I used to have friends as well. Budgies called Peter. Why did they call the Budgies Peter? What, and Joy?
People weren't creative in the 80s. It's as simple as that.
What, Joy and Peter?
We just stuck to very ordinary names.
Brilliant, I love it.
Very
The
ordinary
80s
names.
were good though, weren't they?
The 80s were amazing.
Yeah,
It was a good time.
it was a good time.
I looked hideous.
Well, I looked like I don't know what I look like. I look like
One day
my
we'll have to
teeth
share
are all
snaps
over.
of all of our weird outfits and
Oh
stuff.
man, yeah. I mean, some of the stuff, yeah. It's funny though, because what they've done now with nostalgia and 80s stuff and the old games and stuff, they're bringing it into like the future with the technology now. But I mean, then say if there's a PlayStation now, the original PlayStation, and they've made, as well as a Nintendo as well, and they've made these, they're even smaller, same like look like them with every game on. And it's like, whoa, hang on a minute. Like a PlayStation was, you know, you had to open it and you could like, you know, and then put the thing in and close it down, the old PlayStation, the grey ones. And it was like one disc for one game and it took ages to load. And now they've got all of the games on a unit.
They've no idea what it was like.
It's funny, isn't it?
I'd love to send the kids back to the 80s for a bit. They'd love it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't think they would.
I think they would.
I don't know if they would love it. I think they'd like the sort of out and about in the streets.
I
doing
remember
all
the first
things.
microwave meal.
What was it?
It was...
Spaghetti.
No,
Yeah.
the first microwave meals were like, they were plated dinners.
Yes.
So they
chicken
were like,
dinners. And...
they were Finders plated dinners. So you could like, I used to work in a shop and they came in for the first time and the
Okay,
first
yeah.
microwave meals and then it kind of went mental.
I've tried them before. I've
Yeah,
tried
like
them.
roast beef, turkey, a little
Yeah.
bit of stuffing, carrots, looked utterly crap, but
Yeah.
whatever, people ate them.
My God,
But it was there and they were like £3 in the 80s. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money in the 80s.
No, it was probably $1.99 when they started, probably £3 on the left. But
What was
yeah,
the first video you've ever watched on when you got a video player? Do you remember?
I didn't have a video player.
Didn't you?
No,
I was Karate
never
Kid.
got one.
A copy of Karate Kid.
Yeah, I didn't
Told
have
you
anything like
something.
that. We didn't have anything like that. We didn't have a TV till I was, you know, a young, like youngish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God. You know, look at the... Yeah, it is very... Nostalgia
That's
is...
why I don't care about technology. That's why I'm so weird with technology
Yeah.
because I've just never really kind of
I think we've chatted about it before. Again, if we haven't, it's the whole, like, when you had a TV, a black and white TV, the aerial...
And you rented it from Rumble.
Yeah, the aerial used to be a thing that was on the top
Yeah,
of it.
it's
Like
weird.
a round circle thing that used to creak when
Or
you
like it'd
move
come
it.
up at the side and it'd go into 3 pieces up like that.
Yeah, and you'd creak. trying to watch The Equalizer on a Thursday night later on.
I used to love the Equaliser.
Yeah, Edward.
Today it's just been nonsensical. Nonsensical.
Nonsensical. It's been nonsensical.
What are you saying? Then?
Yeah, I don't know. No, it hasn't. But yeah, we did say on the last podcast that the next one's going to be more light-hearted and, you know...
Apologies for it making no sense at all.
Let's finish it off then with a little bit more just nonsense and some light-hearted banter. Out of superhero powers, being able to swim underwater.
No.
No. Flying.
I'd literally, on that one, I'd be eaten by a shark immediately.
Yeah. Flying.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
wait!
Invisibility. Flying, invisibility, superhero strength, or the one from Deadpool 2, being lucky.
Be lucky.
Yeah. Out of all them, it's, you know what? It's either flying or be lucky.
Bill Gates has got that.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like flying's pretty cool, but there's not much. You just be like, oh look, there's
Really
the
cold,
flying man.
Really cold.
Yeah, there's the
Can't
flying
breathe
man.
either. Oh, there, she's like an
Because
oxygen.
if you need to fly, you need to be able to have superhuman strength. You can't have both. So to fly, you'd just be like, there's the flying man again. You'd be famous, but you'd be famous just for a bit. Oh, it's the flying guy. You know what I mean? No one else can fly with you, so like it's boring. But being lucky,
I like that you've really processed this.
yeah,
Yeah.
it'd definitely be lucky. Yeah,
Yeah.
lucky's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it when we ask our kids this and what would be the favourite superhero power, and they'd be like to be able to emulate every other superhero power ever.
Yeah. Mine's to heal everybody. Heal.
You're an empath though, so
That'd be cool.
that would
Come
be
here.
cool. That would be cool.
New face.
Yeah. So hang on, we've got to invite somewhere, haven't we? We've been invited to something.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next podcast. Fill it in there.
On that note,
Yeah,
like, you know, we don't have very interesting lives. Like, hold a little bit back.
I know, true.
Take care, guys.
See you soon.